But if you do something you love, it changes your brain chemistry. It changes your soul chemistry. You get connected with the deeper resources in you. You remember why you're here, you're alive. Then those thoughts will attract new thoughts. The miraculous zone is I'm in a certain energy, I'm in a certain wavelength, I'm in a certain beingness. And then I start to see the world from that beingness. We see the world very differently when we're in love. And you'll get there by doing something you love.
Welcome to Living in the Miracle Zone. This is the place to be if you want to live in the flow of synchronicities and miracles in your everyday life. I'm your host, Marci Shimoff. I'm a #1 New York Times bestselling author, a teacher in The Secret, and the creator of the worldwide program, Your Year of Miracles. And I have spent my life studying happiness and miracles. And in this podcast, we bring to you extraordinary stories that will inspire you and groundbreaking miracle tools that will show you how you can live your most miraculous life. And it is my heartfelt intention that we have a fabulous time together. So welcome to the Miracle Zone. And today I am joined by the amazing Tama Kieves. Tama, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I love every time I get to play with you in this space.
We are the Miracle Zone.
We are the Miracle Zone together, man. It really works. Let me share a little bit about your background, and then we'll dive right into your experience in the Miracle Zone. So Tama is an honors graduate of Harvard Law School. Now, listen to that. She is an honors graduate of Harvard Law School, and she left her law practice in order to write and help others to live and breathe their most meaningful self-expression. She is the best-selling author of A Year Without Fear, 365 Days of Magnificence. And her newest fantastic, groundbreaking book, just out, is called Learning to Trust Yourself, Breaking Through the Blocks That Hold You Back. Also, Tama's taught a course in miracles for years. The first time I met Tama, I don't know how it happened, but I ended up at a training in your home. I was in Denver visiting somebody. I was teaching and somebody told me about you, and I showed up and I said, oh man, this is a soul sister of mine. And it's just been awesome ever since.
Absolutely.
So Tama, I always start off with the same first question, which is, how did you come to live a miraculous life? You know, what was your life like before? You know, I know that you were not living as miraculous a life as you are now. So tell us about that.
You know, I think I came to a miraculous life, probably like a lot of people, through pain. Through pain, through not living a miraculous life. So basically, you know, when I was younger, I knew that I wanted to write. I loved writing. I was like a teenager or early in college. And I remember telling my mother that, I think I found my calling. I want to be a writer. But I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and my family was Orthodox Jewish. And, you know, if you said, you found your calling, you want to be a writer, nobody said Mazel Tov. My mother said, you're going to write? You're going to starve, you're going to write. And that was it, right? That was that moment where your heart feels one thing, your soul says one thing, but, you know, the world is saying, be realistic, be practical, you know, because, that's what was for dinner, so to speak. And so I shut down and I went along the party line and I went to law school instead. And I went to Harvard Law School and I graduated with honors from Harvard Law School. And I was on partnership track in a major law firm and I was doing super well. But I just felt so empty and I felt so broken. Because when you deny that soul calling and that dream, you know, the external success doesn't matter, right? And thank God a friend of mine said at the time, you know, think about it. If you've been this successful doing something you don't even love, what could you do with what you love? And that for me was my opening, that I realized I want to know what happens in this life if you listen to the voice of love inside you, the voice of your dreams, the voice of your passion, the voice of your soul. And so I walked out of everything without a plan. I walked out of everything, and it's been amazing. I've become, a best-selling author of multiple books. I've reached thousands of people. I help people live their dreams. It's just been amazing to listen to that voice of love inside me. So that was the start.
Well, here's what I say to that. Mazel tov. You did it. You really did it. And congratulations. There are so many people who are in that trap of doing things that's not for them, that they really don't like, and squashing that voice inside and squashing that passion of theirs. And so I just bravo to you for doing that. And, I know that you've got a new book just out called Learning to Trust Yourself.
Wait, what is it called again? No.
Learning to Trust Yourself.
Thank you.
Yes. And again, mazel tov for that. Congratulations, because it is no small feat to write books. And I have gotten to see the book. It's magnificent, totally spot on, and I know will really impact so many people. And I want to hear from you. Why is it that learning to trust yourself helps us live more in the miracle zone? How are those connected?
That's a great question. I think it's because the miraculous zone is something that's natural for all of us, right? We are meant to live and breathe this. And I think we're in so much pain because we're not breathing it. We know there's something more. But we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust that inner voice. We don't trust that love inside us. And I think it's because we're told what's realistic. We're told what's practical, and really, it's a voice of fear inside us. And so one of the things that I teach in Learning to Trust Yourself is that the purpose of your life is to learn how to listen to your inner voice, but your inner voice of love instead of an inner voice of fear. Because I thought I was being smart and savvy by denying my soul, by denying my instincts. I thought it was frivolous and I thought it was woo-woo, right? I thought it was woo-woo to trust in miraculous forces. We are here to trust in miraculous forces. And we can learn that when we trust those deeper instincts within us, things happen that could never have happened in any other way. And for me, that's what has made me a believer, so to speak. I'm a very practical girl. I'm very grounded. And we all have this encoded path within us of genius, of absolute freaking genius. And it's really learning how to start knowing our own original way. Because one of the things I always tell students, and one of the things that's in Learning to Trust Yourself, is that you can spend your whole life getting in your own way, which is what most of us do. Or you can start discovering your own way, this original path that you're on, a love affair with the universe, the way it works for you. So I think for me, learning to trust myself has been the biggest thing I've ever had to learn, because I'm one of those people that I believe something and then I doubt it. I get an instinct and then I doubt it. I go back and forth and wobbling. And so I wanted to learn how to tap that undiluted brilliance. I didn't want to wobble anymore. So,
well, clearly, and I love the distinction, because we do have these inner voices, and one is the inner voice of fear and the other is the inner voice of love. I like the distinction there. So how does someone distinguish between those two and then have the courage to follow the voice of love? How do we do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it really is the work of our lifetime. I don't think it, I wish I could say, I know, like, just snap your fingers.
2 easy steps.
Buy my $19.99. But I think for me, it's been the work of a lifetime. And the main thing, I think, is that the way that you listen to a voice of love, the way that you really listen to a voice of love, one of the ways anyways, is that you stop listening to the voice of fear, right? It's the voice of love is always speaking to us. The voice of wisdom, the inner wisdom is always speaking to us. But we are just naturally listening to that other voice of fear, only we don't call it fear. We call it, well, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what's normal. I'm too old. I'm not smart enough. I have to whatever. And so part of it is really learning to start hearing the difference. Like you said, there are many voices. And so feeling the difference, like how does it feel when I'm listening to this voice versus how does it feel when I'm listening to that voice? And I have a technique that I can talk about that, I'm going to offer as a gift for me, it's been the most important thing I've ever done in my life. And so I needed help. And I created this technique years ago that has just saved my life over and over and over. It's called the Inspired Self Dialogues. I use it with all my clients. And I finally recorded a video on it to really teach people how to do it, lead them through it. It's a writing process that will shift you like that. So I'm giving it to your community, this incredible community, our community. You can get it at tamakieves.com/best-tool-ms. So,
and we'll put that in the show notes here.
But basically, it helps you work through the different voices, and it's really simple. It's fun. It's easy. The other simple thing, profound thing you could do right now at any minute: do something you love. Do something you love. Do anything you love, because the mind will tell you, well, where's that going to go? And I don't see a plan. And it's silly to want to take a walk on the beach right now. But if you do something you love, it changes your brain chemistry. It changes your soul chemistry. You get connected with the deeper resources in you. You remember why you're here, you're alive. Then those thoughts will attract new thoughts. The miraculous zone is I'm in a certain energy, I'm in a certain wavelength, I'm in a certain beingness. And then I start to see the world from that beingness. We see the world very differently when we're in love, and you'll get there by doing something you love.
Yeah, I so appreciate that. Some people can get caught in magical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's one thing, which is possibility and what's the soul is calling you to. But for most people, it may not be the thing to do, like you did, to quit their day job.
Right. Yes.
And so talk about that and the idea of magical thinking, hoping that you're going to win the lottery or whatever that is.
I love that question. That's a dynamite question. And, and so to your point, that's excellent because again, like in Learning to Trust Yourself, my new book, I really, really help you start to listen to that voice of love and to distinguish it, like what you're saying, because the voice of your guidance is incredibly sane and it's incredibly peaceful. It's not this magical, woohoo, I'm just gonna, Tama said this, so I'm quitting my job, right? It's very often the steps we get or the instincts we get are incremental. They're tiny steps. And so much of my own healing that way has been, it wasn't even steps about actions to take, but it was almost like how to shift your thoughts or how to start healing, because so much of it is us healing and becoming in that love and becoming in that zone ourselves so that we know what to do from that. So the magical thinking that you're saying, even though like somebody may feel like, ooh, I want to win the lottery or whatever, there'll be a feeling that's kind of wiggy underneath it. It's like when my ego is talking to me or something, it'll feel buzzy or exciting, but there's still a wigginess underneath it. It's not the full deal. It's not the full deal. It's not that infinite power. It's not that grace that has no doubts, that is calm. And oftentimes my loving inner voice might tell me something I don't want to hear. Mm-hmm. It's not always, you are brilliant and you should conquer the world. That's the one I want to hear. But often it's saying, no, you need to forgive this person. You're worth more than that. Go love that person, right? So again, that loving voice is strong and it's peaceful and it's solid. There's no quivering in it.
So appreciate what you just said. That to me, the voice of fear is the voice of the ego.
Yes,
and it feels different than the voice of the soul, which is the voice of love. And so it's learning to really distinguish, being your own, truly, as the title is, trust yourself.
Yes.
And
I may interrupt me. I'm sorry, Marci.
No, you go.
It's the New York Jewish thing.
That's right. Except I'm California Jewish.
California Jewish, New York Jewish. We got the country covered.
That's right.
Now I'm going to forget what I want. Oh, but you had asked a question before that was so good. And, the courage to do this.
Yes.
For me, the courage to do this, because I can know this all intellectually but for most of us who are really practicing this, really shifting our lives, I work with a lot of maverick souls, and they're achievers, and they're grounded, and they're whatever, but they're opening up to holistic, brilliant things to really, really shift our lives, to really take that step. Takes so much courage, because we are leaving behind one paradigm of the world. We are leaving behind everything that we thought made us safe. Everything we thought was good judgment, right? And to that paradigm to say, do what you love, open your heart, love more, be safer inside yourself. It doesn't even matter what's happening with the circumstances. You can shift the circumstances by what you hold within. That's a paradigm shift. Part of my brain could hear that and say, "Ooh, that sounds good, but what if it's wrong? And what if I go bankrupt?" And so for me, the courage happens because I'm a very timid soul. Everybody always thinks I'm brave because I did this big career shift. And it's like, oh, God, no. And they're like, oh, you'd love this, Tama. Let's go spelunking. And it's like, oh, my God, I would not love that. But for me, it works incrementally. I always say that the inspired path is experiential. You don't get there by talking about it. You don't get there by dreaming about it. You get there by walking it. And you might just do it in tiny little steps. The thing that has made me such a believer is it's worked. It's like I was scared out of my freaking mind, panting like a dog, journaling like a crazy person, which led to books. But it works. But I do it in measured things. I'm not somebody who leaps off something. I do it in small things. I build up. So my inner voice works with me. And someone who's listening to this, their inner voice will work with them, because some of my clients, they're way braver. They will jump off a hill because that's their energy. That's right for them.
Yes.
So for each of us, it's that individualized path.
Yeah. And I so appreciate two of my favorite words are baby steps. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. And I can honestly say that the amazing things that have happened in my life have come from trusting myself. They weren't the things that you'd logically say, oh, yes, that's what I should be doing. I mean, I walked away I wrote 7 Chicken Soup for the Soul books, and there was still more to be written, and I couldn't do it anymore. I was done. I'd made all the chicken soup I could have made. And so it wasn't the wisdom of most people to walk away, but it's what brought me to Happy for No Reason, the work that I did after that. So I know that. And the thing is, it's not that the fear goes away. I think people make a mistake of thinking, oh, okay, I'll do it when I'm not afraid. Forget that. It's just, you're not going to not be afraid. Yes. It's just that your vision, your inner voice, your soul, the calling of that is bigger than the voice of the fear.
Yes. And I love that. And one of the things I always say, if you're studying with a spiritual teacher, anybody out there who's working with a coach or a teacher, whatever, and your teacher isn't afraid at different times, then they're not growing, right? It's like, I'm afraid because I'm growing. I'm going to my edge. I'm still learning to trust myself at deeper levels and deeper levels. I want to see how far this goes, right?
I agree with that. And I think there are a few exceptions of really totally awake people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, because I've experienced a few that just no fear.
Yes.
Because they actually recognize the truth of who they really are. And in that place, there's no fear. But these are really challenging times. We're in such challenging times. And I just would love to know a couple of tips, a tip or two about how we show up, trusting ourselves, overcoming the challenges that we might be facing in these challenging times, and just keep moving towards what you're speaking of?
That's great. Well, first of all, these are incredibly challenging times, which is why I think it's more important than ever to do this kind of work. And what I will remind everybody who's listening is we came for these times. We came for these times. We were born for this time. And what excites me is in the work that I do with the gorgeous souls that I see that get to live their dreams, that find their calling, that do this. We're the answers. We're the answers the world needs. And like what I was saying about that paradigm shift, we are the answers. We are the ones who are going to learn how to shift and how to love and how to show up differently and not feed the hatred and not feed the fear and to be the what I call the presence of the alternative, right? And so again, even though these are challenging times, the first principle I would say that's again from learning to trust yourself is that I want to be here. I want to be right here. I don't want to be in another life. I don't want to be over there, right? Again, paradigm shift, because everything in me would always say, oh, no, I want to be over there. But this is the life I came for. These are the circumstances. And part of trusting yourself is trusting your life. There is something in your life right now for you to experience or heal or shift or an awakening. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in that exact circumstance. So again, most of us are trying to get the circumstances lined up, but if we start shifting the way we're breathing in our lives, it begins to shift. So that's the first thing I would say is like, trust your life. There's a perfection that's right here, that there's something that you're healing or waking up or seeing it differently. For years, I used to think, why do I have to have so many fears? Why do I have to be neurotic? Why can't I be one of those people who's just so assertive and forward thinking and whatever? And then one year I had this incredible shift where I realized it's what makes me a great teacher. It's what makes me relatable. It's why people love the books, because they're honest and I tell real stories. And, and so I finally started seeing the very thing I wanted to change was actually a gift that I was such a gift, such a gift I could do without. But it's, but it's part of my calling. It's part of my purpose here. So I think that would be the first thing I would say. And I would also say that don't believe your mind. You don't know what's really going on. You don't know what anything means. We are giving the meaning to it. And for everyone who's listening, there is a perfection in your life and you are an answer. And if you do anything to live your dreams right now, anything to live your dreams, you're going to start experiencing something. You're going to walk in a different world. The world you're walking in right now, at the level you're walking in, changes when you start listening to that other voice inside you.
I can't agree more. And, this is what living in the miracle zone is. It's walking in that place of grace. We talk about the miracle zone. We talk about the mediocre zone. The mediocre zone is just where most people are living. It's yes. Okay. I'm gonna do what I think I have to do. I'm gonna listen to that voice of the ego. And living in the miracle zone is trusting yourself, trusting the voice of the soul. So this work is so fantastic, and your book is so wonderful. And is there anything else you want to share with us, or if there's any little short process you want to do, or any last thing you want to share with us before we close here today?
I guess the thing that I always come back to, is I'll just say it again because to me it's so important, is that so many of it, I loved your mediocre zone, right? Of that, yeah. We're just getting by. We think that's safe. The safest thing you are ever going to do on this planet, bar none, is to trust yourself, is to live your dreams, to start on that path, and is to follow that desire inside you, whatever that desire is, to not tamp it down. It's not frivolous. It's not silly. It's not too late. It's a code that's inside you. It's an instruction that's inside you. It's what you are here for. It's how the operating system is designed to work. I'm a completely different person living a completely different life because I followed something I loved. And I've gotten beat up with it. There's been so many challenges. It's not like it all just took off. But staying with it, learning how to stay with what you desire, what you believe, who you will be, changes everything. So Please give your gifts to this world. Please be who you are. Please show up in your love. We need you now more than ever. We're waiting for you. This world is set up for you. And again, that desire is a code.
That is so beautiful and so timely. And Tama, every time I get together with you, I just love our conversations.
Me too. Me too.
We're going to share with everybody how to get the book, to find Tama's about your work. It's at tamakieves.com. And then for her free gifts, it's at tamakieves.com/best-tool-ms. And we'll give all of that in the notes. I'm thrilled for you. Learning to trust yourself is going to be such a huge gift to so many people in their lives. And as you are, and I'm going to end today, Tama, with a quote from the book, actually.
Oh.
And the quote is, "My desires are holy. I know this because they give me energy. They are secret rickshaws to other dimensions." And the other dimensions is the dimension of the miracle zone.
Woo!
So yeah, thank you so much, Tama, for being here with us today.
Marci, thank you for all the gorgeous work you do and all the billions of souls probably at this point that you've rippled and rippled and rippled and affected. You are one of those miracles that's healing our world. And I hope everybody supports the heck out of you because you're doing amazing work. Thank you.
Thank you, Tama. And thank you, everybody, for listening today. Thank you all for coming, because your being here makes a difference. And I hope that you're feeling inspired and uplifted and more in the miracle zone after our time together. I know I am. And, if you enjoyed this, please share this love with your friends and family. Also, if you are wanting to live more in the miracle zone, you can take our free 2-minute quiz to find out what your miracle superpower is. You just go to miraclezonequiz.com. And remember that your life of miracles is waiting for you. It is your birthright. And simply by listening to this podcast, you are taking a step forward into the miracle zone. So enjoy, and I send you my love.